Well, hello everybody, and welcome to something a little bit different. It's not going to be a Bear Beer review, it's going to be Bear's beer being reviewed. This is a homebrew of mine. It is called Ursa Minor, which is quite fitting, you might say. And this is my take on an American Pale Ale. I'm going to be quite honest about it. I've tried it a couple of times before, and I know what I think I should do to it, and I'll talk about it more as we're getting going. I'm also going to do a few other things as well, because it's not interesting to hear me talk about my own beer. You're probably not going to get your hands on it, you probably don't care. I'm also going to talk about a few books that I like about the brewing world, and a few other little bits and bobs as well. So I'm going to crack open my bottle, and we might as well drink it and taste it first. Whee! It's definitely carbonated, that's always good, that's a good start. Now it's going to be quite cloudy, I think, unless I'm very, very careful. There we go. It's definitely carbonated, and that's nice. A good 3-finger head. It's lovely and quite dark in colour. It's darker than I wanted it to be, considering I wanted this to be more like a bit of a pale ale. It's come out more like a double IPA in colour, but that's because I used some Belgian aromatics malt, and it just bleached the colour a little bit too much for my liking. But hey ho, that's cool. Really thick head on it. The yeast really loved this beer, all through fermentation. It was fizzing away like mad. That's pretty cool. Nice level of carbonation through the glass as well, and it's a lovely deep dark ruby red colour. Kind of, well, somewhere between a dark ruby red and a dark apricot-y peachy sort of colour. But that's pretty cool. In terms of aroma, exactly how I wanted it. This is a single hopped Citra sort of pale ale. It's single hop with Citra, so all the aromas come from the Citra hops. You get a real smell of passion fruit with this one. It smells unbelievably tropical. Kind of orangey, really sweet orangey flavours, but mainly it's like passion fruit through and through. It's exactly what I was going for, and exactly what I love about Citra as a hop. In terms of malt, despite using Belgian aromatic, you can just about smell the sweetness in it. As I said earlier, you get this really sweet smell to it. It could be from Belgian malt, I'm not sure. What was also used was a light malt extract. Because this is just a test beer, I didn't want to go full on doing an all grain just yet. I've done plenty of all grains in homebrew before, but this one's more of a test, just to see, to put a bit of footing, try a little bit of a different take on things. So, without further ado, give this one a try. And what is lacking from this is what I noticed before, is a little bit of a malt body to it, because I only used a very basic recipe using a few different kinds of malts. There's just not enough earthiness to it. I think I'd have to use something maybe like a bit of biscuit malt, or maybe a bit more crystal, because I used 500 grams of crystal malt and also 500 grams of Belgian aromatic. Try and give a little bit more complexity to the beer. I'd probably go to all grain. I would probably use Maris Otter, and I'd probably use less Belgian aromatic and maybe a little bit more crystal of sorts. So I'll continue to try and tweak it. In terms of hop flavour, is, you know, again, it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a Citra single hop beer. So predominant flavours are passion fruit and citrus through and through. I would use more bittering in this beer next time. Residual bitterness is not high enough for my liking. I like them really high and really strong. So next time I maybe not make it a single hop anymore, although that was kind of the idea. I'm kind of undecided. I'd either go try using something like Magnum or Summit to really give it a kick in the teeth, so you get a real nice bitterness to it that kind of counterbalances the sweetness, or I would increase the Citra massively. I used a third of an ounce at 60 minutes at 15, and right at the end just on finish boil to get the aroma in, and it's turned out pretty nice. It is. I enjoy it, and I can definitely see my friends enjoying it too, but I like, you know, if you're going to go anywhere, if you're going to do something with the homebrew and you really want it to be successful, you have to be critical, and I know I can do better than this, and I'm very pleased with it, but I've got ideas going for me in the future. So whilst we're on the subject of brewing. This is my heart and soul. This is my favourite little thing in the entire world. I'm going to hold it up so you can see the graphics on it. This is my moleskin, crafted from the skin of desiccated moles. No, it's not, it's Moleskin, the company. This is a beer journal that they do. It's quite expensive. It would cost me like £17, I think, £16.99. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for what it is, really. But I love it. Inside, you can see, if I flip a few pages actually, because the first few are quite empty, they have different sections. So, as you might be able to see down the side, in fact it's probably better if I do it like that, you can see they've got recipes and bits and bobs, and my cellar, what you've got in your cellar, all these different tabs, and tastings being the most important one for me, into which you can enter what you have drunk, bit of bob of information about it, and also give it a little pinwheel and a rating and stuff. So there's a few in here that you'll have seen me doing reviews of, and some that you won't have as well, actually. One that I've got in here in particular is an Earl Grey IPA that I tried at the London Vegan Beer Festival by Marble, and it was absolutely stonkingly amazing. I absolutely love this one. It was crazy, it was amazing. Go check it out if you ever get a chance to. And you can also have a section of my cellar in it and stuff. So, not really a literature review with this one, but this is to produce your own literature. I really recommend this one. It's fantastic little fella, and the most recent Homebrew, which is the Minor that we've just tried, is also in there too, and I'll write some notes on that one about how I'd want to improve that one. So that's all pretty cool. Next up, if you're ever looking for something, and you're ever looking for a book that tells you about what to drink and what to try, I cannot recommend anything more than this. Craft Beer World, 350 plus of the finest beers. It's by Mark Dredge, before I forget his name. Can you see it? Mark Dredge. Really cool, really nicely illustrated book. If I flick to a page, it's well designed, well illustrated, well thought and well laid out. And it goes by styles. So, first up, skip all the little bits and bobs here. We have, I'll get to it. So first things first is they've got Pilsners there, and they give you a classic example. So the Pilsner, is it Urkel there? Yeah, Pilsner Urkel from the Czech Republic, and then they give you some other ones to try, and they give you a couple of pages worth of them. So it goes from everything. They've got a couple of Czech ones in here, Birrifico from Italy, Emerson's from New Zealand, and Crate from London. And we'll flick to a random page. Let's go to some crazy ones, shall we, all towards the end. Let's try this one. So Belgian influenced ones, fruit beers for example. So they've got a classic one there, which is Dryfontein Schaarsbiersk Kriek. So it's a Kriek anyway, it's a cherry beer. We've all tried these nice little sweet fellas, and with a kind of sour aftertaste if you've ever gone. They tend to sell them quite a lot of English pubs, and they have some different alternatives for different companies as well, so you find loads of crazy ones like Baird from Japan, who I absolutely love. And also I've got Goose Island Juliet and Cigar Grove Guavo as well. So this book's fantastic. It's really up to date. This one's the 2013 one as well. Or is it end of 2012? One of the two. It's got amazing craft breweries in there from all around the world, and the guy knows his stuff. There's not a single beer in there that I go, why is that in there? That's a really not good beer. Can't recommend that enough. On the flip side to that, we have this one, A Beer a Day, and this is by Camera. Or it's a Camera influence book by Jeff Evans. This one is not as brilliant as the one we've just seen. This literally has a beer for every day, so flick a couple of days. There you go. So for Winston Churchill becomes Prime Minister in 1940, which is on the 10th of May. Got Westerholm, British Bulldog. And then flick a couple more. Captain Cook joins the Endeavour, 1768. This is May the 25th. They've got Cropton's Endeavour beer. So there's an event on every day, and there's a beer that kind of links with that event. And there's some fantastic ones here. There's a Berliner Kind of Ice, what I've reviewed on here before. Triple F Gilbert White. Triple F are a cool brewery. I've not had a chance to review them yet for you. Sierra Nevada, Bigfoot's in here as well. Hogsback Tea, again I haven't had to review them yet, but they're cool. Witchwood, hundreds and hundreds of beers in here. The only thing I have about this one is that you get some real clonkers in there. I'm trying to find one now, I should have put a little note in it, but you get some real ones that you kind of go, why is that there? I don't know why that's there. I'm failing to see any at the moment, but I think there's a couple of lagers in here, a couple of, some like Asahi's in here, I think, and a couple of other macro lagers, and I kind of go, well, Why is that there? And some of them are not as inventive as I'd like to see. Everyone's tried things by Young's, and I sometimes want to see Green Kings in here. I sometimes just want to see something a little bit different, not the ones that I can pick off the shelf out of Morrison's or Tesco's or wherever. But again, loads of ideas in there, loads of breweries I've not tried from England. I'm not as well versed in English business as I should be. Give that one a try if you like it. And then this one's a little bit of a personal one. This is from a trip to Amsterdam earlier this year. Around Amsterdam in 80 beers. This one's brilliant. So if you ever go into Amsterdam, I mean, there's literally 1,000 million bars in here from some fantastic ones. I used this one to try and find some of these places. God, the best one was the Eagle's Nest, and I can't remember the name in Dutch off the top of my head. But if you ever go try the Eagle's Nest, that's absolutely cool and awesome place, and waterfall with beer. But they've got loads of hundreds of if I find the back, they've got loads of Dutch beers in here. So there's loads of Netherlander breweries, De Molen, Ramses, De Shaan, Snab, which is apparently a new brewery collective, Texel's Beer Brewery from there of Texel, Koningshoven, Lindeboom, Jopen. Jopen's a church in Haarlem. If you ever get the chance to go there, go there. It's an old church they've changed into a brewery, and it's like the biggest, craziest thing you'll ever get to see. Jopen spelled Jopen, so check them out. The website's cool. It's got pictures of the place as well. I've also got some Amsterdam breweries like Thai and De Praal, who are amazing, and I sent a couple of bottles to Real Ale Guide to give a try to, and he loved them as well. I've also got Belgian and German beers in here, and a French one too. This one, like I said, this one's, if you ever go into Amsterdam, give it a try. It's got, each page has got a bar with a beer to try, then tells you about the bar and about the beer. And it's just cool. You know, you could spend weeks wandering through the streets of Amsterdam anyway, but you can spend weeks wandering through the streets of Amsterdam very drunk, and I don't know which one I like better, really. Next up, the Microbrewer's Handbook. If you are ever thinking or considering starting your own microbrewery, or thinking about how to get commercialised with the beer that you brew, then I couldn't recommend a book more than this one. It has everything in it, from really basic how to brew. I mean, this isn't a book that's going to tell you, this is, you know, give you tips on how to brew. If you're ever thinking of going commercial, you should probably know by then how to brew. But it tells you everything from location scouting and what you're going to need, and planning permission and drainage and wastage and all that sort of thing, to business loans, to how to sell things, casks, how to sell to pubs, and how to bottle, and how to make bottling productive, all those sort of things. It puts you in the right direction, tells you about all the numerous companies that are out there that will produce you and create a brewery for you, everything from Dave Porter to several other kinds of breweries. Tell you about all the different types of technical containers and things you can have, from coppers and hopbacks and open and closed fermenters, different casks you can have, a little bit about different beer styles, things about local free trade and green brewing and organic brewing as well. Pretty cool. Ted Brewing, Microbrewer's Handbook, really cool, and it's quite relatively cheap. Yeah, it's just less than a tenner, and you can read it page cover to cover, and it's wonderful. It tells you everything you'll need to know, pretty much, and I love that. Final one I'm going to show you is a Homebrew Handbook by Dave Law and Beshley Grimes, if I get your name right, or Beshley Grimes, I'm not sure. The Homebrew Handbook. This is one that I kind of cut my teeth on after getting a couple of homebrew how-to guides. This little fella here has loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of really funky recipes, not just kind of your standard ones. I'm going to try and find my favourite one while I'm flicking through. They have everything from kind of a British influence beers to American influence ones, and then to Belgian, and then to some speciality ones as well from around the world. So you get a little taste of different beer styles as well. So it's not just going to give you a recipe for an IPA, it's going to give you a recipe in the British section for a British IPA, then one for an American style IPA in the American section, and then also there's a couple in the international world ones. There's a cool one here for a bourbon beer, so which is a little bit complicated considering, but they've got one for a bourbon beer, and that's quite cool. It tells you how to soak oak beans. Is it? I want to say oak beans off the top of my head. Yeah, French oak beans in bourbon. How to get the kind of barrel aged flavour in beers without having to barrel age them. The best one in here, I thought, the one that I was most interested in was actually a Scandinavian style bock ale. So a dark a dark lager, essentially, you know, what we'd call a bock in German, but it's a Scandinavian style of one. I assume from some trips up to, I don't know, Denmark or Norway or Sweden or somewhere, and taking influence from that, which I think is cool, you know, to try a different, get a different take on a traditional style. And there's also one for a Pacific Jade Ale as well, which I am desperate to try because I really like Pacific Jade and I really want to brew with it. So if you're looking for inspiration on how to homebrew, the Homebrewer's Handbook is one that I would recommend. It's, again, I think this is relatively new. I haven't seen it. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I got this one. I've only just recently seen this on the shelf and got that and tried a few recipes from that one. I think I've also got a Citra Pale Ale in there as well, actually, having said that, but this one's one of my own inventions. So there we are, we've done a couple of things. We've tried my own homebrew. Obviously you're not going to get to try it yourselves, unfortunately. One of these days perhaps I will be able to send it to people. But look at the lacing, it's got lovely lacing on it as well. I'm very pleased with how this has come out considering what I did with it, and I know what I want to do with it as well. I told you about a few books and stuff. If you have any recommendations for me or what you think I should read or what I should try, I'd love to see them as well. You've seen my little lovely journal, which I would not be without. I'm sometimes such a geek that I literally do sit in bars with a beer journal, drinking beers, and when all my friends are having fun, I'm writing stuff down in my journal because that makes me very sad, but I like to know what I've drunk and I like to have knowledge stored at the back of my head. So yeah, I hope that was some use to you, see what goes on inside an absolute beer geek's head. And make sure you like, favourite, comment, subscribe, ask me any questions you like, I really don't mind. And I shall see you all when I actually do a proper review on the next Bear Beer Reviews. Cheers! Ding.